Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are here again for another live stream update on the upcoming Season 6 Kickstarter campaign. Joel is not able to be here with me this evening, so I am solo, but I'm sporting my Into the Mist sweatshirt and my RealmSmith hat, and I'm ready to go. We are going to have a lengthy session or a sufficient section at the end for answering questions, if you guys have questions. If you do have questions, then if you could just write question in big caps in the chat, and then I can scroll back through and I can find them really quickly and then ask your question. But I'll let you know now, as we will have lots of time for that at the end of this. It has been so long. Tinted Drift, good to see you, Logan. Of course, good to see you, Melissa, as always. Artemis, Tomix, I saw was in here earlier. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and jumping in. For those of you who may have not known that we were launching a Kickstarter for Season 6, or have maybe some questions regarding why we might be doing that, or just saw us go live and thought, hey, this is another season of Into the Mist. I can't wait to tune in. And then you tuned in, and here I am talking. Let me give you a bit of background as to why we are doing this. So, a couple things. I'll do some housekeeping things first. I always forget announcements. The first thing is, leading up to Season 6, I am running games on startplaying.games. It is an incredible platform for playing Dungeons & Dragons and other TTRPGs. I think it is now an official D&D partnership, which is amazing. And I have an incredible couple groups of folks who are playing weekly in a weekly campaign. And so if you're interested in a weekly campaign on Wednesday nights, I have 1 or 2 seats available. I think it's one at the moment. You can jump into startplaying.games and play along with us. And it's a fantastic time. It is canon for the narrative, and so you are playing in the world of the Dawnbringers and RealmSmith's Barovia. And it has been a blast. I see Lisa Jackson just jumped in. She's one of my players. Aaron Gorn, nice to see you as well. And so that's a great way to help the platform and help myself and have a really great time and canonize your characters in the narrative of our Into the Mist. And so you can check that out, startplaying.games. The other thing is next week I am going to be in a jungle in Peru, in the Amazon jungle, in the high jungle of Peru, doing RPG in the jungle. I have 5 folks who are flying out to join me and playing in the jungle. I'm actually playing Tides of Wildmount, and so I'm jumping back into Wildmount along the Menagerie Coast with those folks. I'm very excited to have everyone down with me to play. Shout out, of course, to everyone over there, Benji, Andrew, Leroy, for the awesome opportunity to use this incredible facility they have. It's like a handcrafted dungeon, the citadel in the middle of the jungle, along with the retreat center that we're staying at. So that's a lot of fun. And then, of course, a shout out to the folks who are coming to play. We have Melissa and Debbie and Casey and Scott and Sheila. And I'm very excited to have them out with us, all of the fun. And yeah, I loved Tides too, Aaron Gordon. It's been fun in the last little while to jump in, back into the lore in preparation for this. It is cold here in Canada, so if you can hear my furnace, let me know. But I think it's probably fine, as it is not warm, and so I could use it as I'm wearing a hoodie. Lucky I'm not wearing my toque. Shout out all Canadians. What? All right. As well, I will be at GameCon Canada in Edmonton in June. That is the plan, probably running games as well as Gen Con. I'm not going to as many conventions this year because of the weekly games that I'm running and some of the other projects we have going on with Ultimate Game Master and all of that kind of stuff. So just a couple notes. Okay, so that was housekeeping items. Let's jump in. So we have wanted to do Season 6 for some time. A lot of people have been asking why it's been so long. And, you know, we needed a bit of a break after Season 5. Filming a show like this takes a lot of work, and a lot of resources and a lot of scheduling and coordinating, and we all needed a bit of a break, and now we're ready to jump back in. Typically, the way that these shows are funded, and this is transparency for everybody at home who may not be in the streaming or production area or business, it costs quite a bit to run these. We have run multiple six-figure shows in the past, and Into the Mist, of course, is something that is close to our hearts, and we really wanted to do it right. We really want to get back to the basics of what we did in Season 1 and get the core cast around the table for some Dungeons & Dragons Curse of Strahd goodness. And the way to do that was we need a budget in order to bring people in order to pay our cast that we have, who are the core cast already. And so in the absence of sponsorship these days, as it's becoming increasingly more difficult to get sponsors, we have decided to kickstart to make the remainder of the money that we need in order to get the show made. We do have returning sponsors, which we're very, very thankful and happy about. The first is Beetle and Grimm's. Of course, they're with us again and are always wonderful. Am I too loud? It looks like I'm clipping a little bit. I might turn myself down a bit. Let me know if you guys can hear me just fine. Beyond Beetle and Grimm's, we also have Hero Forge, of course, who are fantastic, as always, and have been a huge supporter of ours for a very long time. And so they're back for sure. We are in talks with some others, as well as Ultimate Game Master, which is Joel and my company, and we are finishing fulfillment on the Ultimate Game Master screen, which we raised. I like to talk in Canadian dollars. My American friends like to call them hot dogs, but because Canadian dollars, we made like $1 million on Ultimate Game Master, so it was fantastic. So we are going to be sponsoring as well with giveaways and things like that. But beyond that, we need more. Our goal, we talked about last week, is probably going to be around the $10,000 mark on Kickstarter. That is what it's going to take to get the core cast around the table to complete 12 two-hour episodes is the plan. We did announce last week that the campaign will be launching Tuesday, March the 4th. That is our goal, and like I said, our goal is $10,000. At the bottom end, of course, the more we do, we're going to have stretch goals to be able to fly some of our guests in who are out of town. And so that is part of the plan, which we will be releasing. I believe we'll be releasing stretch goals in 2 weeks. Next week, I'm going to be in the jungle, and I'm going to try and stream to answer some questions and talk about things from the jungle, but we'll see if that works or not. And if not, then we will see you the following week for sure. What you can do right now, and people ask, what can we do right now? What you can do right now is you can head to Kickstarter and look up Into the Mist Season 6. The link is in the description of the video below. And the best thing you can do is follow the campaign. Because when that happens, we will notify you when we go live. And at that point, you will be able to jump in and get whatever tier you want. Some of these tiers are going to be limited. Which you will see in a second as we are revealing the tiers today in this video. And again, as Joel and I said last week, we reserve the right to change any of the tiers and the costs at any time between now and launch March 4th. This is a great way for us to do a bit of a sanity check with our community and our audience to see the interest and make sure we're not off our rocker when it comes to the levels and the costs and all of that fun stuff. And so we are super thankful for the community for being a part of it, because we need you to do this. We can't do this without you. And so we obviously would love your feedback, and that is incredibly important to us. All right. Now, we are obviously kickstarting a product or an initiative that is different than most Kickstarters. I mean, when we did Ultimate Game Master, you have a product that is very tangible and people can hold, and it's an actual product that we are selling through the Kickstarter experience and having funded the manufacturing of it to be able to send that product out. Funding a live play is a lot different. And I mean, we've had lots of successful campaigns. Obviously, the biggest that came from a live play, obviously, being Critical Role, who were able to fund an animated series, a production. But the bottom line is, in situations like this where we need a certain amount to run a production and to produce something, the lion's share of that fundage that comes in needs to go to creating that thing. Whereas a product, you have a certain amount of cost that you have to do, and then the rest is profit. For us, it's important that the products that we give people as rewards, as thank yous, are not eating up all of that production cash. And so the intention of this Kickstarter is to make a season, and we've tried to make sure that we keep that in mind as we proceed through this process, because we want to make sure that it gets made and that we don't overcommit and become a product making business rather than a series or a production business. And so with that in mind, we have made sure that each tier makes sense, that we are giving our time and our efforts and our skills without a lot of doodads and merch and things that we are sending out that are going to tax our time rather than focusing on it. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that is clear when it comes to this. When it comes to also value of a tier, we wanted to make sure that people get a once-in-a-lifetime sort of opportunity at some of the higher tiers. And they're getting value from watching and bringing their favorite series to a close the way that we want to and the way that it should be. And so I have taken sort of what folks have set a precedence for on what they're willing to play in a jungle or on a cruise or D&D in a castle and all of these sorts of things and these sorts of experiences that you can have in our world, and price them accordingly to that. And so, and the live sessions that I run and the games I run at Gen Con, and so all of that over the last number of years has educated what all of these tiers are going to cost, because that is the only thing that we have to go on. And so we love feedback. We would love feedback in the chat and in comments if you're watching this after we're live, as well as on the Kickstarter as we near launch is incredibly important too. And ahead of the launch, we will be releasing the Kickstarter page for preview, hopefully, so that folks can get a look through it, get your thoughts on it before we actually launch. Because again, it is our community that is going to get us there, and so it's important that we hear from you and that we know what you folks want. And that's important to us. Okay. All right. Everybody can hear me all right, right? Chat has halted, so I just want to make sure that I'm still good to go. It looks like we are still good to go. All right. Here we go. So, starting at the lower level, we want to make sure also that everyone in the community has an opportunity to, hey, Matt and Vanessa, nice to see you guys. We'll see you guys in about half an hour or in 45 minutes when I run your weekly session for you. All right. Okay, so again, remembering that we want to be able to support and allow everyone in our community to be able to provide. And so, again, if you can't afford anything, that's great. Sharing and awareness is huge for us and all of that. But then we also want to make sure that those folks who can give more, all the way up to the high ends, which may look staggering, but are some pretty neat opportunities, I think. Okay, here we go. All right, so we have themed each of the tiers to the characters from our narrative. You will recognize some of them here. And that will be a theme, of course, that follows through the Kickstarter. Everything, I mean, you know, our narrative is very integrated, and so we want to also make sure that the Kickstarter feels like Into the Mist as well. So at the first tier, we have the Mischief tier at $25. Of course, Mischief being a Falfer sort of situation. You'll get the Into the Mist theme download as an MP3. We're looking into like ringtones and other formats that you might want that theme. A lot of people have asked for that theme, and so I'd love to provide folks that. As well as weekly access to Aftermath, which will be the post-show that myself and some of the cast will do after every episode, after we watch every episode. And so that will be exclusive to folks who have access like that through the Kickstarter. And then maybe after the season, long term, we may release those. But as it stands throughout the season, only those folks who backed and supported us will be able to get access to that. Thank you, Jason Folan. That's very nice of you to say. Appreciate that. Tier number 2 is Courage. Of course, our dear Dimitri, who looks a little different than he did early on. Spoiler warnings for anybody who hasn't watched the whole series. You'll get your name in the list of backers that appears in the pre-roll for each episode throughout the season, plus the Mischief tier. And so most of these are going to be that tier and everything above. And so that's at $50. And again, that's just us saying thank you for supporting us, calling you out in the pre-roll to make sure that you're known to be a backer, and you get that as well. Hope tier is probably going to be what we're imagining the kind of standard tier or the average tier, I think, which is typical for Kickstarters. And for that, you're going to get an exclusive 8x10 Into the Mist Season 6 premium art print, plus all of the above. That is not a signed, that is not a numbered print. That is an exclusive art print just for the Kickstarters, the Kickstarter backers. That will be premium in nature, and we will send that out to you. It will be a hard copy print of an 8x10. Again, you know, some folks are like, an art print for $100. Well, that's not it, right? We are funding a show. And so the cost of printing that art print and everything else that you get above that is going to be small compared to what you are giving to make the show actually happen, which is the key component and part of the experience. Okay, here we go into the kind of the mid-level tiers. Under the Fellowship tier, of course, our dear sweet Esmeralda, we have $250. And of course, all of this art is placeholder. There will be a new art print that I will be creating for Season 6 of the Dawnbringers and the party for specifically for that. So we're just using Season 5's currently for placeholding. You get a signed and numbered exclusive 18x24 Into the Mist Season 6 poster and the awards above. So this is going to be a larger version of the first print, and it is going to be signed and numbered. And so that will be very limited, very unique. You'll have one of however many we end up getting backed, and you'll be shipped that at the poster size, which is fun and awesome, and I'm very excited about that. At the loyalty tier, at $500, we're actually going to make you a Dawnbringer, and I do all of the illustrations of these characters inspired by Hero Forge miniatures and our sponsor. And so I will actually be illustrating your character in the style of this, and you will be added into the poster. Your character will be added into the poster, and it will be signed and numbered as well. It will be 1 of 1, of course, so signed, and all of the above as well. You'll get the signed poster, and you'll get all of that too, but you'll get I guess the number doesn't necessarily matter, because it is 1 of 1, unless maybe that matters. Let me know in the chat if it matters. If it says 1 of 1, I don't know if it does, for collectability's sake, but it will obviously be a unique poster just for you, with yourself and the Dawnbringers in the image. Okay. Finally, at $750, not finally for this area, or this section, at $750 is you get to play in an online one-shot run by myself and a number of the cast members during the Battle for Barovia. And so we will run an online game, and all of the awards above that. So it'll be over Zoom with me and some of the cast, and you will be playing through an adventure that exists within. So it will be throughout the season. At some point, we will be running these one shots, and so what you were doing is actually going to be running alongside of the season as it progresses. All right. Here's where we start to get up to the higher levels. The endurance level, of course, that is our dear Sir Godfrey. You and a guest get to join a live studio audience for the finale of Into the Mist Season 6 and access to the wrap party in Ontario, Canada, and all above rewards. Now, this does not include, of course, my family's doing dishes upstairs, so that's just part of streaming in your basement. Hi, everybody. But basically, you will have access. This does not include airfare or hotel. And so just kind of keep that in mind. It, depending on where you're coming from, but the $1,000 is you and a guest, and it's going to be a very small, intimate, maybe 30 to 50 people who are able to come and watch the finale of our show live on stage. And so we are going to be doing it at a public venue, not in the studio for the final episode. And you will be able to see it there. Give me one sec here. All right. Then at 1,500, this is a tier where it doesn't include everything above, but the intention for this tier, it does get higher, is I will run a private online one-shot for you and up to 6 friends during the Battle of Ferbarovia. It says all above rewards. It shouldn't be all plus all above rewards. We may include some more stuff in there, but bottom line is it's about $250 if you break it between 6, you and 5 of your friends. And I will run a one-shot adventure for you through the Battle for Barovia during the season. And so that is also something that I do. I run games on a regular basis, and so the opportunity to kind of jump in and be a part of that is fun. All right. Second highest tier is at 2,000 for Tenacity. Of course, Callie is pictured there. This is for a small business, like a local game store or a dice manufacturer or somebody who would like a marketing opportunity and maybe a bit of a write-off for the business, to be able to put their logo up above the cast on the back wall of the studio. We'll probably get them laser cut and placed in the back so you can see them. They will be well lit. And so your small business logo will appear in our studio while we are playing throughout the season. And then, of course, you get everything above except for the Destiny tier, of course, in that scenario. And then finally, at the top end, and again, it does get higher. It's pretty nuts, is the Legacy tier. Of course, our dear Strahd is pictured there. And this is your ability to come and play in an episode of Into the Mist with your character. This was one of those things where we debated for a while. I don't know of any other live play kind of at our level or higher that has done this. But we are allowing members of our community to come play for a single episode. We're probably going to limit to half the season. So like 6 episodes, we will have a guest player of the 12. I don't know how many of these tiers. I mean, we're doing this, but we just based it on like what people are playing to come play with me at vacation destinations and things like that. But of course, you will get to play in an episode of Into the Mist, Season 6, with the cast live in studio in Ontario, Canada, and all of the above, except for the Destiny and Tenacity tier, of course. You don't have a logo that we're going to put in the back, and you don't get a party, a home group one-shot run by me on Zoom. But you will get you and another person to come and watch the finale live after you end up filming your episode and all of that fun stuff. And so that is it. Those are the tiers. Again, they range in cost, and we wanted to allow the opportunity for people to come and play in our game, and we thought about how expensive that might be, and we know we are not Critical Role, or we're not somebody huge. But we thought that, for some of you, what I've been told is this is kind of your favorite live stream. This is your favorite actual play. And so, imagine being able to play with your favorite band on stage, or, be in a scene in your favorite TV show, or what does that cost you? And to us, it was like, if we were really to put a cost to it, it would be pretty astronomical. And so we tried to put a real cost to it, and we're limiting it. Yeah, so I appreciate that, Lisa, and of course Vanessa saying if she had it, she'd give me all the money. You're great, and you support tons, as is, of course. Okay, so that is it. Those are the tiers. that we are planning. Again, unless we find some major problems, those are the ones that are going to go forward. We may tweak the price and the cost of it based on feedback. So this is your opportunity to give us feedback. It will probably be okay. So let's start into questions. This is the Q&A for Canadians section of the live stream. And when you ask a question, just write question in caps with a question in the chat so that I know that you're asking a question. But the first one is from M. Branscombe 6. How long will the Kickstarter be open for? We're looking probably 2 weeks. We don't want a 30-day Kickstarter. I don't think we need a 30-day Kickstarter. I think this is going to be a very intimate Kickstarter. We're not even running ads for it. We may boost it on our Instagram and things like that, or maybe even put them in our episodes of Into the Mist. But this isn't like Ultimate Game Master, where it's a worldwide sort of push to sell as much product as we don't. This is for our community. And so I think that within those 2 weeks, we'll be able to address all of our community and get everybody who wants to jump in to jump in. Patty says, "This is my favorite live stream. Thank you. Anybody want to loan me $25,000? Oh, Clint. If we had that, we wouldn't need a Kickstarter. Jason Housen, 6 people at 2,500 should bring you to goal just in that one tier. Yes, exactly. Right. So that's the intention, is if we can get a number of people who jump in to play, filling that tier alone gets us past our goal at least. But of course, remember that stretch goals will be like fly Nora in, and all of that. Fly Aaron in, add some of the other guests that we've had in the past in studio. And so, obviously 10,000 will get Joel and Brandon and Adam and myself around the table with some other guests that are local. But, getting everyone else in is going to be quite a bit more. Not quite a bit more. It'll be more, but we'll see when we launch the stretch goals for sure. Matt says you just got Q&A. Thanks. Thank you, Logan, saying we're his favorite stream. Missed you too, Tinted Drift. Question from Aaron Gorn. When it comes to bringing in previous guests for 6, have all of them indicated interest, willingness? Season 6. So we're in conversations. Everyone's very excited about it. We've talked to everyone, and so, or mostly everyone, and so we will be announcing what that season looks like soon, as well as some new faces. One specifically new face that I think everybody is going to be very excited about. That will be announced in the coming weeks. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Oh, Billy's in. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate that. Jason says, got to get Mercer to fly in. We've had conversations, but he is a very, very busy, obviously a busy dude. Fantastic, and love that he supported us up to this point. Not sure if that's going to work, but we have had conversations for sure, as well as with Matt Lillard as well. So those conversations are ongoing, and we will be announcing a finality on those things in the future, in the near future, in the coming weeks. Any more questions about the tiers, about anything else? Question, Jason Foland. Question, will you return to Tides for a while or bounce back to Mists or even some other games, maybe new to us? Yeah, so we've talked about certain stretch goals being completing other things. And so obviously we want to fund this, maybe want to do some bonus episodes of Into the Mist to really get it done. I think we're going to add maybe 4 as a stretch goal, 4 episodes as a stretch goal, but we'll be talking about that further in the future. But we've talked about finishing like Sentinels of the Storm that ended after our cast member left us. unfortunately, suddenly. And so we'd love to do that, to pay homage to him and to that group. We'd love to maybe go back and do some more tides. We'll definitely want to do things that you haven't seen, including carrying on the Dawnbringers, perhaps pass Into the Mist. What happens to them after this season? This is the end of season 6 of Into the Mist, but what's next? If it's them, are they new characters? I don't know. But part of the revenue that we will be taking from the Kickstarter, other than to what we need to film the series, the over and above is going to be building and renovating our studio. So I have a 2-car garage in my backyard, and we will be building a permanent studio for us so that we can create more content. So yes, I would love to bring new stuff back, and if we have a studio, we can do a lot more of that. Question from Tita Drift: is there an age minimum on that friend you can bring if you fly in for a game? No. If you want to bring your kids, your friends, we run a PG-13 game, and so no, there is no age limit on that for sure. So if you wanted to bring a child or a loved one who is underage, I don't see why not, as long as they can travel, and that's totally up to you. Clint, I drive 4 to 7 hours a day. You guys help my days. Can't wait. Thanks, Clint. Appreciate you. 6,000 for Matt Lillard to come back and beat on the party. Man, that episode was so funny, Billy says. Awesome. I appreciate you, Billy. Thank you for that. If there aren't any more questions, you guys can drop them in real quick. And if not, then we will move on. I also love to get some ideas as well in the comments about add-ons that you might like. And so we'll also have a variety of add-ons in the Kickstarter, as is typical. Things that are manageable and able to do, and that, again, don't take away from actually raising funds for the actual Kickstarter itself. But I think we're good. I think that's it. So I've dropped a lot on you folks. I know you folks were waiting for this for some time, and so we wanted to make sure we dropped it all for you to give you the information that you needed. I appreciate you all very, very much, and I thank you all for the continued support and love, and we are just as excited to come back and do this as you folks are to watch it. Again, if you are interested in being a weekly campaign with me, startplaying.games. I am running weekly games on Monday nights and Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. And you can jump in and join the rest of us. I think we have one spot available on Wednesdays, and so you can jump in and do that. As well, I'll be in Peru next week playing RPG in the Jungle. If you happen to have that off starting on Friday, this coming Friday, and want to jump to Peru, there is one spot left. But of course, I understand that's super late notice. But we do have that. We will be doing more as well. I do have one question, actually, from Patty. Will you still try to run side games in Barovia on Discord? We used Foundry and found it to be very useful, friendly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what the future of Barovia is for us, but what I'm doing weekly now, running these campaigns, is a ton of fun. It's the highlight of my week, and I love to do this for the folks that jump in, and so... So yeah, I would love to continue to be in Barovia in some way, shape, or form, potentially, or another Dread Realm. But I would love to continue to do some of that stuff. Aaron Gorin says, add on Joel and Adam writing additional verses to Looking for a Fiddle. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. You're welcome, Scott, for the update. Question from Jason. Have you ever played the RPG Rifts? I never have. I know there is a huge following for Rifts. A lot of people are in love with it, and it's very nostalgic for a lot of folks. And yeah, and so I would love to try it someday. And I know I'd love for it to come back. What's your start gaming tag? If you just look up Into the Mist, you'll find me, or Jason Azevedo, you'll find me. Actually, there is a link in our Instagram. I'll pop the link in the chat. Why don't I do that real quick for those folks that may be interested in joining? Copy link Here we go. There's the link. That's the link to the Wednesday game that has a spot open, Clint, in case you were interested. And Logan Clark says, will there be additional one-shots on Start Playing games at any point? Yes, that is the plan. Leading up to the season, not only am I doing weekly, which I know is a lot to commit to for a lot of folks, but I will absolutely be running one-shots, and we will have some pretty awesome guests for some of those one-shots. And so keep an eye out for those as well. All right. I need to run. I need to prep for my 9 p.m. game with the fine folks, especially you folks who are in here. Thank you, everyone. I love you all very much. We love you very much, and we are looking forward to doing this together. Without further ado, help us venture back into the mists. Thank you all. Have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Bye.